You won't believe who's deeply in love with you. The first letter will shock you. Psychology tricks. Pause for a second before you go any further. Just breathe. Slowly draw the air into your chest. Hold it for a moment and let it go gently. Feel the noise around you fade, even if only for a few seconds. Some messages aren't meant to be rushed, and this is one of them. The truth is, you didn't arrive here by coincidence. At this exact moment in your life, something quiet has been happening beneath the surface of your everyday routine, beneath the distractions, the silence, the moments that passed without explanation. Emotions sometimes move quietly before they reveal themselves. As the writer Anime Sneen once said, love never dies a natural death. It dies because we do not know how to replenish its source. But when love is alive, real love, it finds subtle ways to make itself known. And here is the surprising part. Someone in your life has feelings for you that run far deeper than you realize. Not the casual kind, not the attention-seeking kind. This is the careful, thoughtful kind of love that grows quietly inside a person until it becomes impossible to ignore. The kind of feeling that changes the way someone looks at you, listens to you, remembers small details about you. Even if no confession has been spoken yet, something inside you has probably already sensed it. That strange little intuition you tried to dismiss. That moment when you caught someone looking at you a bit longer than usual. That quiet energy that felt different but hard to explain. It isn't your imagination. Often, recognition comes before words ever do. So welcome. Take a moment and settle in. If this message resonates with you, consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because every conversation here is meant to spark awareness and help you see the emotional signals that most people miss. Now ask yourself something honestly. What made you click on this video? It wasn't just boredom, and it wasn't random scrolling. Something about those words reached out and pulled your attention without effort. Think about that instant again. Maybe there was a small pull in your chest, a gentle curiosity mixed with a quiet hope, a feeling that perhaps this message might finally explain something you've been sensing for a while, but never quite found the words to describe. 1. Emotional energy travels. Sometimes the heart recognizes what the mind has not yet understood. That simple truth explains something many men begin to notice later in life. Emotional energy does not simply disappear. It moves. It travels. And if you have recently felt a strange emotional weight, a quiet pull toward someone without a clear reason, pay attention. That is not random noise in your mind. That is the subtle movement of connection. In the world of psychology tricks and female psychology, one of the most overlooked realities is that human emotions create invisible bridges between people. Thoughts linger, feelings echo, and sometimes you feel someone's emotional focus even when they are miles away. Lately, you may notice your mind drifting toward a certain person at unexpected times. Maybe you're making coffee in the morning and suddenly their face appears in your thoughts. Maybe you're driving home at night and a memory of a simple conversation returns with unusual clarity. Do not rush past this. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. Emotional attention rarely moves in only one direction. Often it reflects a quiet exchange between two people who are thinking about each other more than they admit. That is one of the subtle psychology tricks hidden in human relationships. When someone develops deeper feelings, their mind naturally circles back to the same person again and again. Not out of obsession, out of emotional gravity. And this is where understanding female psychology becomes important for a mature man who wants clarity about how to fall in love or recognize when someone may already be falling for him. A woman who carries real affection does not always announce it. In fact, the older and wiser she becomes, the more quietly she protects those emotions. She observes. She remembers. She reflects. That is why the smallest details you forgot may still live vividly in her mind. A casual comment you made months ago. A brief moment of eye contact across a room. A smile you offered without thinking twice. To you it was ordinary. To her it became meaningful. That is how emotional memory works. And this is something most men underestimate. They believe attraction is built through grand gestures, impressive achievements, or perfect timing. Not necessarily. In the quiet mechanics of female psychology, connection often grows through small, authentic moments that feel safe and genuine. That is why she may think about you early in the morning before the responsibilities of the day arrive. In those quiet minutes, the mind becomes honest. Distractions fade, and the heart allows itself to revisit the people who matter. Later at night, when the world slows down again, the same process happens. The mind wanders, memories return, and if you have left a positive emotional imprint, you appear there again. Not briefly, not lightly. Her thoughts linger. She may replay a conversation you barely remember. She may revisit a simple joke you shared or a thoughtful comment you made without realizing its impact. Do not underestimate this. Do not rush past it. Emotional resonance is powerful. It is one of the oldest psychology tricks in human connection, although it is not really a trick at all. It is simply how the human mind organizes affection and attention. When someone's heart is quietly leaning toward you, their thoughts naturally return to you again and again. That is the emotional signal many men feel without understanding. They notice the presence of someone in their thoughts, even when nothing obvious has happened recently. They sense something in the air, a quiet, emotional echo. That feeling is not mystical. It is psychological. And when you understand how to fall in love through the lens of emotional awareness, you begin to recognize these signals more clearly. So here is the important advice. Do not chase confusion. Be calm. Be observant. Be present. Do not assume every emotional ripple means destiny, but also do not ignore the possibility that someone is thinking about you more often than you realize. Mature relationships rarely explode into existence overnight. They grow slowly through attention, respect, and shared emotional space. That is why emotional energy travels the way it does. It moves through memory, through curiosity, through quiet moments when someone wonders what you are doing, how you are feeling, or whether you notice them too. And here is the final truth many men overlook. You left a mark simply by being yourself, not by performing, not by impressing, just by showing a calm presence, a thoughtful mind, and genuine attention. In the language of female psychology, authenticity creates the strongest emotional imprint. So if you feel that subtle pull lately, if certain memories keep resurfacing, if someone's presence seems to echo in quiet moments, pause before dismissing it. Reflect. Stay grounded. And remember this principle about how to fall in love. Meaningful connection rarely announces itself loudly. Most of the time it begins exactly like this: quiet thoughts, lingering memories, and two people unknowingly thinking about each other more than they ever expected. 2. They admire the depth within you. Not the surface version people see at first glance. Not the quick smile or the casual conversations. No, what draws them in is something quieter, something far more powerful. They admire your emotional depth. And even when you try to hide it, they notice. They notice the way you carry yourself after difficult seasons. They notice the calm strength that comes from having lived, struggled, and still chosen to move forward. That kind of depth cannot be faked. It comes from experience. It comes from lessons life carved into your character. And believe this clearly, many people walk through life wearing masks. But when someone encounters a man who carries real emotional depth, it feels different. It feels grounded. It feels safe. That is why this person feels drawn toward you in a way they cannot easily explain. They see the strength that was built through pain. You may think your past struggles are something to keep hidden. Many men do. They believe vulnerability makes them less appealing. But that belief is wrong. Completely wrong. Pain, when faced with dignity, creates character. And character creates presence. When someone senses that kind of quiet resilience in you, it naturally awakens curiosity. They begin to notice the way you listen before speaking, the way you remain calm when others become reactive, the way your words carry weight because you do not speak simply to fill silence. That is masculine energy at its most attractive form. Not loud, not forceful, but steady, grounded, intentional. A high-value man understands this. He does not try to impress the world with noise. He lets his presence speak. And that presence naturally begins to attract women who are searching for something deeper than temporary excitement. At first, they didn't even realize what was happening. What confuses them most is how natural it all feels. This love didn't explode overnight like fireworks in a movie. It did not arrive with dramatic confessions or sudden intensity. Instead, it grew quietly, almost like a seed planted in soil that no one was watching. Slowly, patiently, almost invisibly. At the beginning, they called it curiosity. You were simply someone interesting to observe, someone slightly different from the rest. Maybe it was the way you asked thoughtful questions. Maybe it was the calm confidence you carried into a room without needing attention. Curiosity turned into respect. They began to notice that your actions matched your words. You didn't promise things you couldn't deliver. You didn't chase validation. You simply lived your life with intention. That is rare. And rarity creates respect. Respect turned into care. Without realizing it, they began paying closer attention to your mood, your tone, your energy. Small details that others overlook suddenly mattered. Your laughter felt rewarding to hear. Your silence became something they wanted to understand. And then one day, something shifted. No announcement, no dramatic moment, just a quiet realization that arrived unexpectedly. Your happiness started to matter deeply to them. When you smiled, they felt lighter. When you succeeded at something important, they felt proud in a way they couldn't fully explain. It was as if your victories created warmth inside their own world. That is when curiosity quietly transforms into emotional attachment. But something else happens too. Your sadness begins to affect them in ways they did not anticipate. When you seem distant, they notice immediately. When your voice carries a hint of exhaustion or disappointment, it lingers in their thoughts long after the conversation ends. They begin wondering if you're okay. They replay your words in their mind. This is the moment when attraction becomes emotional investment. Your absence suddenly feels louder than anyone else's presence. Think about that for a moment. Rooms can be full of people. Conversations can continue. Laughter can happen all around them. Yet something still feels missing when you are not there. That quiet emptiness is not coincidence. It is emotional gravity. And here is the truth many men overlook. You do not attract this kind of connection through appearance alone. You attract it through presence, through consistency, through emotional steadiness. That is why cultivating masculine energy matters so much. Not the exaggerated version many people talk about online. Real masculine energy is calm confidence. It is self-control. It is the ability to remain centered even when life becomes unpredictable. Be that man. Do not chase attention. Build presence. Do not perform for approval. Live with purpose. That is how a high-value man moves through the world. And when you do, something powerful happens naturally. You attract women who are not interested in surface-level excitement. You attract women who recognize depth when they see it. Because depth recognizes depth. Remember this carefully. Love that grows slowly is often the most genuine. It does not rush. It does not demand attention. It unfolds quietly, like a story revealing itself page by page. One day curiosity appears. Another day respect grows. Then care arrives without invitation. And suddenly someone realizes your happiness matters to them more than they expected. Your sadness touches them more deeply than they understand. And your absence becomes impossible to ignore. That is the quiet power of authentic connection. So do not underestimate your depth. Do not hide the strength that life has built within you. Be steady. Be intentional. Be the kind of man who lives with clarity and calm purpose. Because when you carry that energy, you do more than simply attract women. You create space for real connection. And somewhere, quietly, someone may already be falling in love with the man you truly are. If this message resonated with you, take a second and reflect on it. Real attraction isn't loud. It grows quietly through depth, character, and the strength you've built through life. A man who understands his value doesn't chase attention, he builds presence. And that presence is exactly what draws people closer without forcing anything. So if you believe in that kind of quiet strength, drop a comment right now. My depth speaks louder than my presence. Write it in the comments so the world can see it. And if this message opened your eyes, like the video, subscribe to the channel and stay with us because here we learn how a man builds real value, real presence, and the kind of connection that people feel even when he's not in the room. 3. Fear makes them stay silent. Fear is the quiet force that makes them stay silent. And if you understand this, you understand far more about human behavior than most people ever will. Love always asks for vulnerability, and vulnerability asks for courage. But many people carry scars from the past, scars that taught them to guard their hearts carefully. They have been hurt before, hurt deeply enough that it reshaped how they approach connection. So instead of rushing forward, they step back. Instead of confessing feelings, they observe. Instead of risking rejection, they hold everything inside. As the ancient philosopher Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That line captures the essence of old Stoic wisdom. People who have been wounded often believe the safest path is control. Control the emotions. Control the distance. Control the exposure of the heart. And so they stay quiet, even when their feelings are strong. Do not misunderstand the silence. It is not indifference. It is caution. You are not difficult for them. You are important. And importance can feel dangerous when someone has experienced loss before. When someone matters deeply, the possibility of losing them suddenly becomes real. That is why they hesitate. They fear that speaking up might change everything. They fear that if the feeling is not mutual, something inside them may crack open again. And because of that fear, they choose the safer road, silence. They watch you carefully. They support you in subtle ways. They celebrate your victories quietly. They care from a distance, not because they lack courage, but because their heart remembers what pain feels like. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes powerful for modern life. The Stoics understood that fear is often an illusion created by the mind to protect us from imagined future pain. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Think about that carefully. Many people lose potential love not because the feeling is absent, but because fear convinces them to stay silent. They imagine rejection. They imagine embarrassment. They imagine loss. And these imagined outcomes become stronger than the desire to speak the truth. But Stoicism teaches a different path. It teaches discipline of the mind. It teaches courage through clarity. A man with an iron mind understands that emotions should not be ruled by fear. He sees reality clearly. He acts with intention. He does not rush recklessly, but he also does not hide behind silence forever. In modern life, this lesson is critical. Many adults carry years of emotional experience, divorce, heartbreak, disappointment. By the time people reach their 40 seconds, 50 seconds, or 60 seconds, they have learned caution. That caution can protect them, but it can also trap them. They start believing that silence equals safety. But silence also closes doors that may never open again. Remember this: when someone quietly supports you, when they consistently show up, when their attention feels steady rather than loud, there is often something deeper happening beneath the surface. They may not say the words. They may not make grand gestures, but their actions reveal the truth. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Many people embody their feelings in exactly that way. Quiet care, quiet loyalty, quiet attention. This is why developing an iron mind matters. When you build mental clarity through Stoicism you begin to see people more accurately. You stop chasing noise and start recognizing substance. Loud attraction is easy to spot. Quiet devotion requires awareness. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us to observe patterns rather than react to momentary signals. Look at the consistency of someone's behavior. Look at the way they respond when you succeed. Look at the calm support they offer when life becomes difficult. These signals often reveal more than dramatic words ever could. But here is the crucial advice: do not become trapped in endless guessing. Life rewards courage. The Stoics never encouraged emotional chaos, but they always respected decisive action guided by reason. A man with an iron mind understands balance. He observes carefully. He interprets wisely. Then he acts with clarity. If someone's silent care becomes visible, acknowledge it. Create space for honest communication. Do not push aggressively, but do not ignore the moment either. Because sometimes the person who loves you quietly is simply waiting for a sign that the door is safe to open. Old Stoic wisdom reminds us that life moves forward only once. Time does not pause for hesitation. Opportunities appear, and they disappear just as quietly. That is why Stoicism win is not only philosophy, it is a discipline for living well. It trains you to remove unnecessary fear from your decisions. It trains you to act with dignity rather than impulse. And most importantly, it helps you recognize when silence hides something meaningful. When you develop this mindset, you begin to master life differently. You become calm, observant, and decisive. You recognize that fear often disguises itself as caution. But an iron mind does not surrender to fear. It respects risk, evaluates reality, and moves forward when the moment calls for courage. And sometimes, the quietest love around you is simply waiting for that moment to arrive. 4. Your soul already recognizes the connection. Your soul already recognizes the connection, even if your mind has not fully caught up yet, and that is something many men overlook in modern life. You may not clearly know who this person is right now, yet something inside you has already noticed the signal. That quiet awareness matters. Have you ever felt sudden waves of emotion that seem to arrive from nowhere? A strange sense of nostalgia without any clear memory attached to it. A calm feeling, almost like someone is watching over you, protecting you in ways you cannot explain. Don't dismiss those moments too quickly. Pay attention to them. That is where deeper human connection often begins. As the philosopher Carl Jung once said, synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. What you are experiencing is not simply imagination. It is the subtle communication that happens between people when emotions grow silently beneath the surface. This is one of the most fascinating psychology tricks hidden inside real relationships. When someone thinks about you with strong emotion, when their attention, admiration, or affection quietly focuses on you, your mind and body can feel it long before any words are spoken. Energy does not simply vanish when feelings remain unspoken. It travels. It lingers. It finds small ways to show itself. You might notice pressure in your chest that appears suddenly and fades just as quickly. You might feel an unexpected urge to check your phone, even though nothing logical triggered the thought. Sometimes a name drifts into your mind for no clear reason, almost like a quiet whisper from your subconscious. These moments may seem random, but very often they are subtle signals of connection. Female psychology often works through emotional awareness rather than direct declaration. Many women feel deeply long before they speak openly. They observe. They reflect. They allow their emotions to grow quietly. That is why men who understand female psychology rarely rush or force clarity too early. Be calm. Be aware. Notice patterns instead of chasing answers. That is how you begin to see the invisible side of attraction. One of the most powerful psychology tricks in human relationships is that genuine affection tends to grow in silence before it becomes visible in action. A woman who is slowly learning how to fall in love often reveals it through attention rather than confession. She remembers small details about you. She notices when your mood changes. Your happiness begins to matter to her more than she expected. Your struggles quietly affect her thoughts. At first, she may call it curiosity. Later, she calls it admiration. Eventually, she realizes it is something deeper. That is the quiet path of how to fall in love that most people never talk about. It rarely begins with dramatic declarations. It begins with emotional awareness. You must understand something important here. Don't ignore your intuition. Don't dismiss emotional signals simply because they feel subtle. Human connection is rarely loud at the beginning. It is quiet, observant, patient. When someone is thinking about you frequently, when their attention rests on you longer than usual, the bond begins forming beneath conscious awareness. Your soul senses it before your logic confirms it. That is why many men feel these strange emotional echoes before they realize what is happening. Modern life trains people to rely only on logic, but relationships do not operate purely on logic. Emotional intelligence matters. Awareness matters. The men who understand psychology tricks and female psychology learn to observe instead of forcing certainty. Be grounded. Be patient. Let connections reveal themselves naturally. When you understand how to fall in love through emotional presence rather than pressure, you begin to see people more clearly. You notice the way someone looks at you when they think you are not paying attention. You recognize the quiet care hidden inside small gestures. And suddenly, those mysterious emotional moments, the pressure in your chest, the unexpected thoughts, the feeling of calm mixed with longing, start to make sense. They're signals, not noise, not coincidence. They're reminders that human connection often begins in silence long before it becomes visible in words. If this message resonates with you, don't just watch and move on. Pause. Reflect on the quiet signals life sends you. Someone's feelings may already be reaching you in ways words never could. Like this video, subscribe for more powerful insights, and join the conversation below. Drop this comment to anchor the idea in your mind. My soul recognizes the connections meant for me. 5. Let your intuition reveal the name. Now slow your breathing again. Not fast, not rushed. Slow. Let the noise of the world settle for a moment and return to something many men forget how to use: your intuition. Feel instead of analyze. That is the first step. Too many men try to solve love like a puzzle, breaking it into logic and evidence, but real connection rarely speaks in spreadsheets or explanations. It speaks quietly. It whispers through feeling. So pause and focus gently on a name. Don't force it. Don't chase it. Let the first letter rise naturally from somewhere deeper than thought. Not the one you want to appear, the one you feel. That is the difference between imagination and intuition. As the writer Blaise Pascal once said, the heart has its reasons which reason knows nothing of. And that truth still applies today, especially for a man learning to trust his inner compass again. For some men watching this, the energy that appears may feel quiet but intense. You sense someone thoughtful, protective, observant. A person who rarely speaks loudly about their emotions, but carries them deeply. That kind of presence often belongs to someone who respects you more than you realize. They study you. They notice how you carry yourself, how you handle pressure, how you stay calm when others panic. This is something powerful because women are not simply drawn to words, they are drawn to presence. They notice stability. They notice restraint. That is masculine energy at work. Not loud, not desperate, just steady. And when a man embodies that calm confidence, he naturally begins to attract women without chasing approval. That is the quiet signature of a high-value man. For others, the letter that appears may be J. And if that letter surfaced in your mind, pay attention to the emotional tone attached to it. J often represents someone conflicted but sincere. A person who may not always express their feelings clearly, yet carries genuine care beneath the surface. You may have noticed moments where their behavior seemed inconsistent, warm one day, distant the next. Don't rush to judge that pattern. Sometimes what looks like confusion is actually caution. They may be protecting their own heart, or they may simply be unsure whether you see them the same way. Remember this: people reveal themselves slowly when the connection feels meaningful. As the philosopher Seneca reminded us, love in its essence is spiritual fire. Fire doesn't explode immediately, it grows, it warms, it spreads over time. So if the letter J appeared in your mind, don't overanalyze it. Be aware. Observe. Let actions reveal the truth. And for some of you, another letter may have quietly surfaced, K, a different type of energy altogether. Strong on the outside, soft within. You may know someone like this already. Someone who appears confident, independent, even a little guarded. Yet when they look at you, there is warmth hiding beneath that strength. That contrast is powerful. Many men underestimate how deeply women observe emotional steadiness. They admire a man who doesn't rush, who doesn't panic when emotions become complicated. That is the mark of masculine energy matured by life experience. Be that man. Don't chase validation. Don't perform for approval. Simply show up as the grounded version of yourself. That is how a high-value man moves through the world. And when you embody that calm certainty, you naturally attract women who respect that energy. But here is something important you must understand. The letter that appeared in your mind is not magic. It is not fortune telling. It is a doorway, a signal from your subconscious pointing toward someone whose presence has already touched your emotional awareness. Your mind may have noticed subtle things long before your conscious thoughts caught up. A glance that lasted slightly longer than usual. A tone of voice that softened when speaking to you. A concern they showed when you seemed tired or distracted. These are small signals, easy to overlook, but your intuition records them quietly. That is why the letter that surfaced felt natural rather than forced. This is why emotional awareness matters so much for a man today. Many men believe attraction is built only through appearance, money, or status. Those things may open doors, but they rarely build genuine connection. True attraction grows when a man understands presence. When he carries masculine energy that feels grounded, calm, and self respecting. That kind of presence is rare. And rarity is powerful. A man who stands firmly in his values becomes naturally magnetic. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't chase validation. He simply lives with purpose. That energy alone can attract women who recognize the strength within it. So, don't rush away from this moment. Sit with it for a second. Ask yourself honestly, when that letter appeared in your mind, did you feel something shift inside you? Maybe a small spark of recognition. Maybe a subtle sense of curiosity. Maybe even a quiet warmth in your chest. That reaction matters more than you think. Your intuition is not random. It reflects emotional patterns your mind has been collecting quietly over time. Be patient with it. Be observant. Don't force conclusions. Just watch how people move around you. Notice who checks on you. Notice who listens carefully when you speak. Notice who seems genuinely happy when you succeed. These signals reveal more than dramatic confessions ever could. And remember this simple truth. A high-value man doesn't need to chase love desperately. He builds a life filled with purpose, discipline, and calm confidence. When you live that way, your masculine energy becomes visible without effort. And when that happens, you naturally attract women who are drawn to the stability and strength you carry. That is how real connection begins, quietly, naturally, and often long before either person dares to say the words out loud. 6. They respect and admire who you are. They don't just like you, they respect you. And that difference changes everything. Many people can enjoy someone's company for a moment, but deep admiration, the kind that quietly grows in the background of everyday life, is rare. This person sees something in you that most people overlook. They see your emotional intelligence. They see how you listen more than you speak. They see how you care without announcing it to the world. You help someone without expecting applause. You show patience when others rush. You carry yourself with quiet dignity. That kind of presence does not go unnoticed. As the Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And that is exactly what they see in you. You simply are one. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are simply living with integrity, and that silent strength commands respect. In modern life, where noise and attention-seeking fill every corner of social media, this kind of grounded character stands out more than ever. People scroll past thousands of faces every day, yet they remember the person who carries calm, clarity, and purpose. That is you. And this person has noticed it. They notice how you keep moving forward even when life tests you. They notice that your strength was not built in comfort, but forged through challenge. Experience shaped you. Responsibility matured you. Hard lessons sharpened your perspective. This is the essence of old Stoic wisdom, to accept life's trials without complaint and transform them into inner strength. Your life story carries that quiet discipline. You don't complain about the storm, you learn how to walk through it. You don't collapse when circumstances change, you adapt and keep building. That resilience awakens something powerful in them. It inspires them. It challenges them to grow. And that is where their feelings become complicated. Because admiration often becomes something deeper. Respect slowly turns into affection. Affection quietly becomes love. And love, especially the kind that pushes someone to become better, can feel intimidating. The ancient Stoics understood this well. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." When someone witnesses that strength in you, it doesn't just attract them, it awakens their desire to rise to your level. They begin asking themselves difficult questions. Am I living with purpose? Am I disciplined enough? Am I strong enough to walk beside someone like this? This is why their feelings sometimes appear uncertain or restrained. It is not confusion. It is respect mixed with awe. When someone truly admires you, they don't rush recklessly toward you. They pause. They observe. They measure themselves. They wonder if they are worthy of standing beside the person who has built such a steady life. This is where Stoicism becomes more than a philosophy. It becomes a way of living that naturally attracts meaningful connection. You never chased admiration. You earned it through consistency. You built an iron mind, and that mindset radiates outward into everything you do. The world today moves quickly. People jump into emotions without reflection. They mistake excitement for love and attention for respect. But real connection grows slowly, just as the Stoics taught. It grows through shared values, through mutual respect, through watching someone handle life with discipline and calm. That is the foundation of lasting admiration. This person sees how you stay composed when others panic. They see how you speak thoughtfully rather than impulsively. They see how you keep your promises even when no one is watching. These small actions accumulate. They form a picture of who you are. And that picture leaves a deep impression on anyone who pays attention. Epictetus once reminded his students, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Without realizing it, you have already followed that instruction. You decided who you would be long ago, steady, thoughtful, reliable, and your actions quietly prove it every day. This person admires that alignment between your words and your behavior. It feels rare. It feels real. And real character has gravity. It pulls people closer even when they try to keep their distance. Yet here is the key lesson you must understand. Do not chase validation. Do not change your path to secure someone's affection. Stay exactly as you are. Continue strengthening your iron mind. Continue living by old Stoic wisdom. Continue building the life that reflects discipline and purpose. Because the moment a man abandons his principles to gain approval, the respect that once attracted others begins to fade. Stoic philosophy teaches something powerful. Focus on what is within your control. Your character is within your control. Your actions are within your control. Other people's feelings are not. That is why true confidence grows when you stop trying to manage how others perceive you. Ironically, the less you seek admiration, the more naturally it appears. This is the quiet paradox of strength. The person who respects you today respects you precisely because you are not trying to control their opinion. You are simply living your values. You are embodying Stoicism when in real time. You are demonstrating what an iron mind looks like in the modern world. And that example inspires others more deeply than any words ever could. So remember this. Admiration grows in silence. Respect builds in observation. And love, real love, often begins with someone quietly watching the way you live your life. They see your discipline. They see your calm. They see the strength that hardship carved into your character. And whether they admit it openly or not, that strength moves them. It challenges them. It inspires them. Because when someone encounters a person shaped by old Stoic wisdom, guided by purpose and strengthened by an iron mind, they don't just notice it, they feel it. And that feeling is powerful enough to change how they see themselves, how they see life, and how deeply they may come to care about you. If this message resonates with you, don't just listen, claim it. Because the truth is, when someone truly respects you, admires your strength, and sees the quiet resilience you carry through life's challenges, it creates a powerful connection that few people have the courage to face. That kind of admiration is rare. That kind of influence is real. And if you recognize that strength within yourself, it means you're already becoming the kind of man who inspires growth in others without even trying. So take a moment and affirm it publicly. Drop this sentence in the comments. My strength and character inspire the right people to value me. Like the video, subscribe for more timeless wisdom, and remind yourself True respect always reveals the deepest kind of love. 7. Their silence holds more feeling than words. Their silence carries far more meaning than most people realize, and if you understand this, you begin to see a deeper layer of human connection that many overlook. Listen carefully. Their silence is not indifference. It is not distance. It is not absence of emotion. In many cases, their silence is actually an overflow of emotion, so much feeling that words suddenly feel too small to contain it. This is one of the most subtle psychology tricks hidden inside human behavior. When someone feels deeply, they often slow down. They pause. They observe. They measure their steps. They understand that once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back. That is why silence appears. Not because nothing is there, but because too much is there. And if you study female psychology closely, you will see this pattern again and again. A person who truly cares does not rush to speak simply to fill the air. They choose their moment. They choose their timing. They watch how you move through life. They study your character. They ask themselves a quiet question. Is this someone I want to build something real with? That is why you must not misinterpret silence as rejection. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't assume the story or fears are trying to tell you. Be patient. Be observant. That is how mature men read situations correctly. That is how emotional intelligence works in the real world. Many men misunderstand female psychology because they expect instant signals, instant clarity, instant confession. But real emotions rarely operate that way. Real emotions grow slowly, carefully, thoughtfully. This is one of the oldest psychology tricks nature uses when two people begin to form a connection. When feelings start to deepen, hesitation appears, not because someone lacks courage, but because the heart understands the weight of what is being felt. Think about it. When someone is casual, they speak freely. They flirt carelessly. They promise quickly. But when someone truly begins to care, everything changes. Words become heavier. Timing becomes important. Intentions become serious. They do not want to approach you impulsively. They do not want to appear selfish. They do not want to enter your life carelessly. That is why their silence becomes thoughtful instead of empty. They're measuring their steps because they don't want to become just another temporary chapter in your story. They want to matter. And there is a powerful truth hidden inside how to fall in love that mature people eventually understand. Real connection grows in quiet spaces. It grows in observation. It grows in restraint. Anyone can speak big words quickly. That requires no depth. But the person who chooses patience is showing something rare. They are protecting the possibility of something meaningful. In female psychology, especially, emotional safety matters deeply. Before expressing feelings openly, many women observe consistency. They watch how you respond to pressure. They notice how you treat people who cannot benefit you. They study whether your presence feels calm or chaotic. This is another layer of psychology tricks that experienced men learn to recognize. Silence becomes a testing ground, not a game, not manipulation, simply observation. They're asking themselves if the connection they feel is real or temporary. And here is the important instruction. Don't break that space with insecurity. Don't rush to force clarity. Be calm. Be steady. Let your actions speak louder than explanations. The man who understands how to fall in love does not chase emotional noise. He builds emotional stability. He shows through consistent behavior that he is safe to open up to. That is how trust grows. That is how silence slowly transforms into honesty. Over time, when a person sees patience, maturity, and emotional steadiness, the silence begins to soften. Words begin to appear naturally, not forced, not pressured, just honest. That is when you realize something powerful. What looked like distance was actually care moving carefully. What looked like hesitation was actually respect. And respect is one of the strongest foundations any relationship can stand on. So remember this clearly. When you encounter silence, don't panic. Observe it. Understand it. Silence is often one of the quiet psychology tricks human emotion uses when feelings are deeper than words can easily express. Those who understand female psychology recognize this pattern quickly. They know that real connection doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it breathes slowly. Sometimes it grows quietly until both people are ready to meet each other with clarity. That is how to fall in love in a mature way, not rushed, not chaotic, not impulsive, but built on patience, awareness, and respect for the emotions that both people are still learning how to express. Before we end today's video, let me say this sincerely. Thank you for spending these moments here. I'm truly glad you were here with me. If there is one thing I want you to remember, it is this. Sometimes the most powerful feelings in life grow quietly, not loudly, not dramatically. Real connection often moves in silence. Someone may be watching you, respecting you, caring about you far more deeply than you realize. And when that moment finally comes, maybe through a simple message, an honest conversation, or an unexpected meeting, you will feel it immediately. The truth of a genuine connection doesn't need noise to prove itself. So here is my advice for you. Don't rush love. Don't chase validation. Be calm. Be patient. Continue becoming the man who lives with dignity, kindness, and quiet confidence. When you focus on growing yourself, the right people naturally move closer to you. And sometimes, the person who loves you most is already closer than you think, just waiting for the right moment to step forward. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, stay wise, and take good care of yourself.